All right, thank you. Appreciate everybody being here. Sorry for um, the kind of the adjustment in the location, but the regular room is going over some renovations, carpeting, paint, and the like, getting a refresh. So apologize for the uh, kind of the little bit of the disruption today, but thank you for being here. Um, we'll go ahead and do roll call. Who's going to take roll call? Just go through we'll start with Miss Felicia. Just state your name and that you're present.
Felicia Cook, present.
John Lugerai present.
Eric Cooley present.
Andy Dance here.
Pam Walker, present.
Stephen Baker present.
All right. And if you could, these mics are a little bit different from the ones at the board chamber. So if you can pull them close to you when you're speaking, make sure that everything gets recorded properly. I need to read also our conflict statement at the October 15th meeting. The following item was documented as a conflict of interest per Florida statute. And on that item, Lisa Robinson did not participate in that vote. Morning, Ms. Pontieri. Just for the record, state your name and present.
Teresa Pontieri, present.
Thank you. All right. With that, we'll go ahead and move to consent. You've got the meeting minutes, financial reports, quarterly marketing reports, and the Fund 1109 capital project quarterly reports. Is there anything on consent that anybody wanted to comment on? Or is there any item that you wanted to pull?
I can comment on the fund, this 1109 City of Flagler Beach.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if that needs pulled or not, but so City of Flagler Beach, we applied for permitting for the beach walk. And we got word that the dune is going to need significant work before any type of construction can get completed. Unfortunately, this work, after funding is found and the work gets done, they're doing it has to sit for a year. And during that year, while it's settling and doing whatever DEP thinks it needs to do for a year, there also can't be any type of large events that would cause damage to it. So City of Flagler Beach in our meetings, and I'm sure you're going to get formal communication at the tourism office, but the City of Flagler Beach thinks the right thing to do is to not pursue that grant anymore and to let those funds go back into the pot and go to something that can get handled more immediate. Because even best case scenario, you're talking that won't be able to happen for a couple of years now because of this new information we found in the permitting process.
Okay. Was that asked, Ms. Lukasik, was that something we were going to bring back in April, or did we want to address that now?
We can have discussion now, whatever the board wishes.
Okay, let's go ahead and, in case there's a motion or anything, let's just go ahead and pull that. If someone could make a motion to pull that item, and then we'll go into discussion.
Motion to pull D1.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Cooley, seconded by Councilwoman Pontieri. All those in favor of pulling this item signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Okay, so I'll leave it open for discussion. Ms. Pontieri, you had some comments?
Yes, I would ask the commission to consider the city of Palm Coast receiving the funding. We have the ability to install lights on additional fields at Indian Trail Sports Complex. This would open us up for more tournaments, more play for locals. It's about a $650,000 endeavor, but we do have a match available from impact fees. We have over $4 million in impact fees right now, actually, that we can only utilize in certain ways, but they can be used to match this grant, and we can move forward with the installation of those lights as early as this summer if that grant funding is made available to us.
Okay. Is this the same exact project that was presented prior that came in second when we voted?
I think it has, yes, I think it has been discussed. I can't represent that it's the same exact project. I don't know that for sure. I know Ms. Johnston was previously working on this, but I do know that it's related. I just don't, I can't represent that it's the same exact project.
Okay. The only question I'm having, right, we've already seen this once, and if it's the exact same one, I don't have a problem considering if it's anything significantly different, um, then I think the council should probably, if it's the same fields, different fields.
It's field 6 through 10. I don't remember what field. I don't think previous fields, well, I don't know. I can't say. I don't want to misrepresent anything here today. I know Indian Trail Sports Complex has been before the commission previously. I don't know that these specific fields for lighting have been.
Okay.
I don't know if Ms. Lukasik, do you remember?
I don't. I can work with city staff to review what was previously submitted, and if there are any changes, then we can ask them to submit a new scope and come back before the board in April for consideration.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What is the process? So the funds are still with us, right, at TDC, and then we just haven't dispersed them, and now we're saying that we want to reabsorb that amount, and then we can go to different projects, correct?
Right.
And so the fast track was to give City of Palm Coast their lights, but I thought that amount was only like 150,000. It wasn't. It was 650.
Yes, so if it's 650, it's a 50-50 match. So the TDC's portion would be approximately 325,000 based on the estimate Ms. Pontieri provided. And the grant award to Flagler Beach was 745,372. So we still would have a balance that we could discuss at that April meeting as well.
So I guess the question is, right to the board, is if you want to, since it was discussed prior, we had the boardwalk and the lights at the prior vote, and the lights came in second. Without the boardwalk, the lights would now be the top priority. Do you want at this meeting to either approve it or push it to April so we have the documentation for the actual items that are going to be approved? If it's been too long and you want to refresh your and have those documents in front of us, we can bring it back to April. Commissioner Cooley.
Chair, just procedure wise and transparency wise, I think it would be good to just make it an upcoming agenda item. That's assuming that there's no changes. If there's changes, then the process might have to restart again for it. Just for, following the rules and the formalities of it. But if it's the same, just an agenda item.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Anybody else?
I was gonna say, does the board have an appetite to look at any other projects at this time? I know lights are top priority, but if we want to go through the process again, do we want to put it out there and see if Benel has anything, City of Palm Coast, if there's anything else, or the changes? If there's changes, if there's not changes, and it was already in second, I mean, that was a really hard decision to make. And if there is no changes, then I say we can make it pretty quick. But then I'd like to get an update to see if the construction aspect of it, would it be ready by August when they're actually needed, or is it going to be another year past that?
So I spoke, and forgive me for not having more information. This was kind of a fire drill based on, we didn't know how Flagler Beach
Okay.
was going to decide, and their meeting was last night. So I spoke with Deputy City Manager late last night about this, and so she gave me kind of high level information. I don't think the scope of the project has changed. I don't know if the price has changed because of it being later on. Prices always go up. So, but she did tell me it was 650,000, and she did tell me it could be done this summer. So we know that they're ready to go. It's Musco. They've done work for us before, particularly at this complex. So they're ready to go. Again, the funds from our perspective are available. So they would be ready to answer your question when needed.
Hey, Chairman, can we vote if it is the same? And Amy or somebody can look at, make sure it is or whatever, that we can vote if it is saying it can go ahead with it, you know what I mean, at this meeting, so it's not delayed or something like that.
So we'd have to vote again in April, you're saying?
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
So you start the ball rolling now. I would say, yeah, if there was no changes, I'd be okay with it.
If you all want, and we can maybe go through the rest of the agenda, I can get information, confirmation from Deputy City Manager during this meeting, if that would make the board feel more comfortable. If we can maybe just push this until the end of the meeting.
I don't have a problem with that if we brought it back up under board comments. If there's anybody that is okay with that, we can move it. Or if there's a motion out there that we wanted to bring it back to April when we have all of the documentation in front of us. I think that was your Commissioner Cooley's idea.
It sounds like the scope has not changed. Obviously, I think and also the writing in the grant, it accounts for prices to fluctuate. But just for, agenda posting, public transparency, I think it should be an upcoming agenda item. That way the public can see it, be noticed, and, if anybody needs to attend, they can. And we also have the information in front of us to, just make a good decision. I do understand it was number 2, and that all makes sense. It's more of a formality process, really.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm opposed to it or anything. I would vote yes on it if I had to vote today, but I'm just only speaking of, agendas, public notice, and that type of process.
And I would support that. I mean, if I feel like I can read the tea leaves, hopefully, to the extent nothing else comes up that would take all of the remaining funds that were supposed to go to the other project. It still does open the door, to John, your point that there could be some other projects out there too from other municipalities. In the interest of transparency, I would be fine with that. Definitely can relay to our team that it's likely to go through, and then we can maybe start to slowly turn the wheels. But wait until an official vote in April.
Okay, so we'll need, in order to move this forward, is there a motion for that kind of pulls that together?
I'd make a motion to place on the April agenda consideration of the board for the use of 1109 funds for lights at Indian Trail Sports Complex for the city of Palm Coast.
Second.
All right, a motion by Councilman Pontieri, seconded by Commissioner Cooley. This time I'll open up for public comment. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this item? Come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Oh, there is a podium. It's behind me.
Yeah. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Any final comments on this item? All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. And moving back to consent, is there anything else anybody wanted to pull off of consent? If not, I'll take a motion for consent.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cooley for approval, seconded by Ms. Walker. All those in favor signify with aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. And we'll move on to our presentations. And the first one is by our Flagler County Tax Collector's Office, Ms. Shelley Edmondson, and that's on the Tourist Development Tax Update. Good morning.
Well, good morning. This is a little different. All right. Well, oh. I didn't bring my glasses. I don't want to get the wrong one. All right. Well, good morning. Is this being recorded or just audio? Just audio. All right. Well, folks at home, you can't see this, so I'll try my best to explain what we're all looking at. This is your 5 cents. This is where it's going right now as of the September 1st ordinance. Promotions, 3 pennies go to promotions and 2 of your pennies are going to your beach restoration. Here's just a look at annual collection by fiscal year, just to kind of see year over year what that looks like. We went as far back as 2015, so you can see that. And this past 24-25 fiscal year, we collected just over $4.4 million total revenue. This is just a graph to show, a line graph to show the peaks and valleys of your rental seasons. And that yellow line, that bright yellow line was last year. You can see it fell right in line with your traditional rental seasons. You guys just stop me if you have any questions. Here's a look at, now this was prepared in January for the January meeting, so I apologize. I mean, it only goes to the December information, but this is your quarterly collection from October to December. You can see there's quite a bit of information in this. This is the Amy report, Amy Lukasik report. She gets this every month of some of the details that we can put together. You know, the potential rental nights. These are questions we're asking when people file their returns. And you can see the potential rental nights, for instance, in 24 to 25 was less for single family homes and bed and breakfast. The actual occupancy percentage rate, actually, there was a decrease in that overall. So if you have any questions about this, I'll be more than happy to answer them, or I'm sure Amy has a lot of insight as to what's actually happening here. But this is that data. Here's just a look at October, and I'll show you November and December, the same of what was actually collected for the month of October each of these years. So you can kind of see that trend and what that looks like. Here's November. And then December. There was quite a drop in the December of this past year. Back in July of 21, I started recording because this is real-time data of how many actual accounts that we do have. Each property is represented by one account. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but one property may have multiple listings. Again, we'll kind of go into that, but this is per property. So there's 1,613 as of when we took this data back in January. Here's what those accounts are made up of. That remaining miscellaneous, there's 57 of them. To the left of the screen, you can see kind of what makes that up. Obviously, the majority of them are the single family homes and the condos and townhouses. Miss Felicia, welcome back. Here's your here's your rental zones. You can see the majority of them are in unincorporated. That's I don't think it surprises anybody to know that's because the hammock belongs to the county. And a lot of other spaces. So there's a lot going on in unincorporated, then the city of Palm Coast, then the city of Flagler Beach, and then everybody else. I can't reiterate this enough. We get a lot of anonymous letters. I see things on social media. I just met with a county commissioner yesterday who's been notified that there are more properties being rented than what the tax collector has. And here's what I will say again. Each property could have multiple listings. One home could be advertised 5 times. We have 1,600 and something accounts. What's being reported back is there's 3,500 properties being rented. Each property could have multiple listings. So that's where those numbers are actually coming from. Is there any questions about that? And I think I got a few more slides to kind of dive into that. Okay. We recently changed our online internet scraper vendor. So this is the folks that we use now, different than the folks we used before, to see if we got any different data. And I can tell you it's relatively the same. Our dashboard looks a little different, so I wanted to just share this with you. This is a company who's highly skilled, uses algorithms and technology beyond imaginable, that is scraping Flagler County's online properties for sale or for rent. You can see that Airbnb has 1,006 properties, not listings. Verbo or VRBO, 526. Flipkey, they didn't really identify any yet. We're still in the beginning stages with this company. They're still scraping for us. This is new, but they've identified almost 400 from other online sites. Any questions about, is rentals really down? Well, they've scraped that information too. And just last month, or whenever we clipped this, they showed that there was 1,036 active short-term rentals just for the month of December. You remember you saw those dollars were down in December. In December, rentals were down. If you look at that line graph in the center, you can see where rentals were up in January, and then they continued to rise February, March, and then come September, October. These are the online for rent ads that they're finding, and it did have a decrease. And then same with the booking activities, you can see what happened there. Is there any questions about this? And I know it's high level. I can't show you the stuff behind the scenes, but this is just kind of a general idea. And again, this is new. They're still scraping and finding and sending us data. But again, we have 1,600 accounts, and this is what they're finding: real, active, live accounts. This is kind of what we see behind the scenes. Now, I did do some clips here, and it's from New York, as to not give away anything that we've got. But here's the important part, right? Online platforms such as Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Evolve, and all the other ones, they do not have an agreement with Flagler County, and they do not pay tourist tax to the county. That is not my decision. That is the county's decision. They could choose to do that. They have not. I don't have. I don't really have a one way or the other. What that looks like. There are some counties that have an agreement with the online platforms to just go ahead and collect on behalf of the homeowner, and there's a lot of counties that don't. I will say that there's pros and cons, and I will be happy to get a short list of maybe some of those counties that do that. Again, it is not my decision. Well, we are well prepared to do it either way. What I would say is, you more than likely, depending on how that agreement would have ever been written, would not get the data even that you're getting today. Okay, so there's a lot to consider there, but it doesn't affect our office on collection. It's just really the reporting at the end of the day. So at this point, it is the responsibility of the property owner or manager to pay these taxes directly to Flagler County. Some of these online platforms have an agreement with Department of Revenue. Actually, I think Department of Revenue has an agreement with all of them. I'm not really sure right now. So Airbnb may be sending that check directly for sales tax to DOR, but they're not sending anything to us. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question about that? Online platforms, the county can agree or not, and up until this point has not had an agreement with the online platforms to collect these funds. Any questions about that? Okay. I have a question. Where does the money go? I don't know. Am I allowed to answer that? I don't know. I don't know how this works. What do you want to do?
No, well,
She asked where the money went. Where's the money go?
Yeah.
You wanna ask me?
The board members can ask you.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, where does what money go? Which money? Can you clarify which money?
I'm just wondering, if more money come to tourism?
Well, that's debatable, whether more money would come to tourism. I do not believe that would be the case. And there's several reasons why, and we can get into that if you'd like. Here's what I will tell you, that think about Airbnb. They oversee internationally. If you believe that they understand the borders between Volusia, Flagler, St. John's, they don't. And so I've talked to other tax collectors who say, Seminole County got our money. I sent the thing to Jane and Jane didn't pay. And Jane said, well, Airbnb took it and sent it to you. And Airbnb didn't send it to us. They sent it to Seminole County. And so then, you've got kind of money going everywhere. You lose the ability to audit typically. Maybe some counties have gotten better about getting that information from Airbnb, but statistically, before we took it over, the tax collector's office in the county took this job. The Board of County Commissioners asked the tax collector back in 2018 to start collecting these dollars. Prior to that, it was Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue had an agreement with Airbnb and several, maybe not all, but several online platforms. Well, it was great. They just got a check. But there was no data behind that. Where did that money come from? Who was actually paying? Were they paying the right amount? There was no way to audit. Certainly not from the county standpoint, and Department of Revenue just didn't. Not on our behalf, not on Flagler County's behalf. So I believe the way I understood it back then was typically when the counties collect at a local level, more money is typically collected. And you have the ability to gather data in which you never got before. Prior to 2018 and the tax collector taking it over, you guys simply just got a check. And if I were to go back and look, the tax collector took it over in late 2018. So there's that.
Mr. Kasich, did you have a comment?
That's just December. I can go to the annual, I guess. The annual, here you go. We took it over in late 2018. Now, you guys did change from 4% to 5% when, do you remember when that was? I had it in a slide many moons ago.
I think it was in 18 as well.
Okay. It was very close, yeah. So, I mean, there was a penny change in that. But again, if you believe that Department of Revenue was internet scraping to find every account, you're wrong. So, anyway, I don't know that we ever really talked about that. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention that, you have options, or the Board of County Commissioners has options. And then it's up to you all to decide if that's what's right for us. But anyway, so nevertheless, we do not have an agreement. Flagler County as a whole does not have an agreement with these online platforms, and it is the property owner or management company, whoever's filing these returns, it's their responsibility to get these taxes paid to our office. Yes, sir.
Ms. Kasich, did you have a comment?
I was just going to share some of the heartburn that my colleagues have that have the agreement with Airbnb. It's exactly what Ms. Edmondson said, is that Airbnb just sends one lump sum check and you have no idea, did they catch everyone, collect everything? Is it even accurate? And think about, like she said, they're internationally. So Flagler County probably falls very low on their radar of collections. So I do believe we are in the right spot, and we're probably envious of others because we have such tight controls, making sure we're collecting. And like Shelley said, we have the data behind it.
Go ahead.
And one of the
Just-
last things that I'll just mention is, if you think DOR or anybody else is going to knock on our neighbors' doors when they don't pay, they're not doing that either. So,
Ms.
yes,
Walker?
ma'am.
Just as the grandmother of the group, I think here, and having been back through that other, we never knew anything of the data with the DOR. And this is such a much better functioning way to see where our funds are coming from and what they're being applied to. So I congratulate the Flagler County for doing a good thing in this case. So I hope that answers your question.
Ms. Cook, hold on. Ms. Cook?
Well, having come from another county who used to have Airbnb and all of what they knew, paying, then they changed and are doing what Flagler County does, their income went up tremendously. And it's like Amy said, you have no clue who paid, who didn't pay. Did they pay the right amount? Maybe you've got somebody who only paid for 1 month because that's what Airbnb thought they did. So I think we have great control
Yeah.
through this office who can manage what is actually coming in.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson?
So when the owners at the end of the year file the taxes, they just put up a random number, oh, I sold 2,000 rooms, and then it backs out that way because if, like, we already know that one building can have 2 or 3 listings for each room, because I see it, I look at it myself.
Hmm.
So how do we know that they can sell all 3 rooms that day and then only claim 1 room? What do we know, or do we just say, hey, the property owner said I sold 3,000 rooms this year, and this is the back out the taxes for the county?
So here's what I would say for anybody who owns a business in Florida who's paid sales tax directly to Department of Revenue. Have most of you done that? What do you give them?
It's an honor system.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It's an honor system.
Okay.
Largely. Not always, but depending if it's services, I mean, it depends. It's very, you as the owners have to input data
Mhm.
largely.
Have we all filed taxes with the IRS? And what do we give them? It's almost like the honor system. Until when? They come knocking on your door.
You have an audit.
We're knocking on doors. So to answer your question, and I know it was kind of broad, yeah. That's why I met with one of the commissioners yesterday, because he got an email that said the tax collector is doing this on the honor system. Well, so is Department of Revenue, and frankly, so is the IRS. We all are. But we have the ability to audit. We've got internet scrapers telling us, and not for nothing, look at this screen. It's telling me, and it gives me way more detail in the background, but this is just a snippet. I know what they're charging every night. I know if they're booked. I know if they were booked. We, Amy, our other Amy and our team, Renee. I mean, we know if they're booked. We're looking behind them. Now we've got 1,600 accounts. I'm not looking behind everyone every day. But we're looking, just like Department of Revenue does audits, just like the IRS does audits. These folks have to keep their tax returns and their data and their records. 7 years, I think it's the same as the IRS. We can go back all those years. Cheater, pumpkin eater, eventually you're going to be caught. We're going to find you. But again, that's part of the controls that we use. So yes, each month they're going to report what their gross sales are and what they rented. But when their time's up, we're going to check out those books. And we do. Is there any questions about that?
Just one more comment.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And I said that because I know people who Airbnb their properties and they don't have a clue what they sold. That's why I was asking.
So we do a lot of hand holding in our office and give them the information on how to pull those records. We're monitoring what people are filing. If they file, erroneous exemptions, because they don't understand how to file. We do a lot of hand holding. All the requirements, how to file, when to file. we get a lot of, I didn't know. I thought Airbnb was doing it for me. And we continuously are explaining to people that that is not the case. So it's an ever learning. And, you know, and I would also dare to say I like to see the best in people. That a lot of them truly don't know. They don't know they're doing anything wrong. You know, they're just trying to make a few extra bucks. They don't understand the rules. Government has a lot of red tape, and we try to minimize that as best we can, and really get them through the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. So just very quickly for the newly tuned in folks, in order to have a short-term rental in Flagler County, you have to have two things. You got to have a local business tax receipt and a tourist development tax account to be able to file and pay your returns. And that is by county ordinance back in 2018. When we took all this over, that was the Board of County Commissioners' decision to make those requirements. So how to do a local business tax receipt? It's cheap. We haven't changed these fees since 1972. Do the math. It's old. So in 1972, if you had a short-term rental, you paid $7.50, just like you do in 2026. It is free to apply online. It expires every year, September 30th, and you have to pay that $7.50 again. And in order to get that, we do look over your documents. We are not code enforcement for local business tax receipt. And I would dare to say for $7.50, code enforcement's not even going to crank the truck, but that's neither here nor there. But we are not code enforcement. We are simply the collection and where they would apply. And we do chase them quite a bit because we want them compliant. But just to say that we are not code enforcement in this, the local business tax receipt. That is the county's wheelhouse. However, we got a real big stick in tourist development. We can send people to jail. We can cancel their charters. We can close their business. We can sell their assets. There's a lot we can do if they don't pay their tourist development tax. It is confidential. I'm sorry I can't share more information with you a lot of times, but we just can't. It's confidential. I'm sure, 123 Main Street would love to know what 124 Main Street is making annually, their next door neighbor. How much did you make? We just can't share that information. But this is where they would file, apply, and pay on our secure website. We are doing enforcements. That's what the county has asked us to do. So we put warrants on people's properties. I know that sounds scary, but it's basically like a lien against the property. We knock on their doors. We're sending them certified letters. We can garnish their bank accounts. There's a lot we can do. So this is the notice, and maybe some of you have seen them posted on doors or heard about it or seen it on different facilities or homes or condos or bed and breakfasts or hotels. So we try to do the social or the community outreach. We've recently done kind of a stint with social media, trying to increase our social media presence. We still have that anonymous reporter button. Ms. Pontieri, with your recommendation, we changed the position of where it was. I hope it's easier to find. People are using it. We have our PowerPoint displays in our office where at least, we get over 100,000 people coming through our lobbies. So when they're just sitting and waiting to be served, they have something to look at. And this is a gentle reminder that if you're renting, you should talk to us about that. We do community events and we're talking about it. And then, as you know, each year we put the magenta, it's different color every year, but I think this past year it was a magenta color slip, and every property owner's tax bill got this notice. Are you doing a short-term rental? And if you are, you need to contact us. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Any other questions?
Doing a great job. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Miss Shelley. All right, our next presentation is fiscal year 26 marketing and advertising campaign update. So we have Tom Hart, creative director, and Chip Fudge, director of digital strategy and business intelligence with Aqua.
Those are the two guys sitting back there.
Good morning.
I'm Travis McClure, account director with Aqua Marketing. So the three of us are gonna run through some updates. A lot of information, so we're just gonna cover a lot of high level details, but can address any questions as well. So Aqua Marketing is the agency of record for Visit Flagler, handling paid media planning and buying, analytics and reporting, as well as all of the creative.
Could I
Yes.
interrupt just 1 second?
Yeah.
I had a thought. Right, we're only on audio. So without the visuals, I wanted to make sure if anybody was listening, this is how you get to the agenda and the backup material. So I figured I would just get this out on the audio. FlaglerCounty.gov is the main website. And once you get there, you'll see a tab for events and marketing. You click on events and marketing and you'll see the TDC meeting block with the 9 a.m. start time. You click on that and you have an option to click on the agenda. And once you click on the agenda link, you'll see the actual agenda with each of the items and hot links for the backup material that then you can follow along with our speakers and actually look at the backup material. So if anybody was online and was bummed out that they couldn't see the material, that's one way that they can get to it. So my apologies. I just wanted to get that out there. You can continue. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. So we're going to do some recaps of last fiscal year and look at what we're up to this fiscal year as well. So starting off with paid media, this is last fiscal year, just a high level summary. In total, we spent $592,000 on paid media. That included 12 different media vendors, delivering over 93 million impressions throughout the year. You can see on the pie chart here our media mix, very heavy digital at 74%, social 13%, print 7%, and outdoor 6%. So that's a pretty typical media mix that you'll see across the board, where, you know, in modern times, obviously everything is very heavily digital. A few highlights from last year's plan and our results. Overall, the click-through rate on our digital advertising was 22 times the industry benchmark that we monitor at 0.1%. Our plan came in at 2.28%. That was a big jump from fiscal year 24. That was at 1.35. So really good results last fiscal year. Overall, generated 2.1 million clicks through to the website with a cost per click average of 30 cents. YouTube was really our bread and butter for last year. It comprised over half of the total impressions on the plan, and 80% of our clicks came from YouTube video. And typically with video advertising, we lean on that as more of an awareness and an impression channel over clicks. But this campaign had our strongest click-through rate out of any media vendor at 4%, the highest on the buy. Also Expedia, one of our vendors, where we're able to monitor direct bookings and revenue through the advertising, reported a 13-to-1 return on ad spend, generating over 900,000 in revenue. And then added value, which is something that when we're planning and placing the media buy, we always negotiate with the media vendors for extra impressions or bonus ads, things like that. So in total, we had negotiated 53% of the total spend on the media buy. So just jumping back, that 592,000 spent was actually realized at a $900,000 media value with that extra negotiation. And then, as I mentioned, YouTube was one of our top performers with a click-through rate, followed by Facebook, Google Search, and Instagram. So that's last year. The current fiscal year 26 paid media. An overview, our budget is up a little bit this year to 616,000. We do have a negotiated 60% added value in this plan. Geographically, we're targeting predominantly the I-95 corridor for drive markets, and then also Northeast and Midwestern US for lift markets. Demographically, we're primarily going after families and couples ages 25 to 54 with a household income of 100,000 plus, and then secondarily going after couples age 50 plus with the same household income demo. We also, where we can on digital media, layer in targeting based on interests. So we obviously want to align that with the activities and offerings of the destination. So some examples are like ecotourism, hiking, outdoor activities, beaches, dining, family activities, etc. And then just generally our strategy for this year, we want to utilize a combination of digital and traditional media and reach them based on various things like behavioral and contextual categories to make sure we're reaching the right people that we want to bring into market. We are continuing with a heavy skewed digital media mix, which includes paid search, paid social media, programmatic digital, which includes streaming video like YouTube, eBlasts, and Expedia. And then also we utilize Visit Florida Co-op advertising opportunities where appropriate, where it makes sense, and we can get good value and we're reaching the right people. So that is the overview of media. I'm going to hand it over to Chip for analytics.
Good morning, Chip Futch. Depending on what business card I have with me, either Chief Intelligence Officer of Aquabrensis or Director of Strategy Intelligence. Jumping in real quickly to Google Analytics, just look at a top line summary here. Kind of hard to see everything on the screen, but if you'll notice, there is a pretty big dip during last year, and that was an issue with the vendor of the website having robots blocking the site, so we couldn't run search during that period of time. So the traffic has resumed strong, immediate, right up the gate, and search is running in full again. It's worth mentioning also, a lot of people probably noticed last year, if you asked Google something, you got AI results first. That was a problem. It's kind of curious to me how Google shot themselves in the foot considering search is one of their largest revenue models. But at any rate, that's been repaired now to the sense that the AI results are showing up underneath paid. So when we're running search, paid search again, that the results are showing up back above the AI summary. So people aren't getting the information right away. They're getting some search options. But we do expect AI to continually be an interceptor of traffic to websites. That's not going to change anytime soon. But without getting too far down the AI path there, this is another way to look at markets coming into the website. Now, here it follows pretty heavily, pretty closely with the volume of sessions, but we feel it's very important to weigh the density or saturation from those markets, so factoring population as well. So you see things, Chicago's very strong in terms of visits to the market, but when you factor population, it falls down the chart a little bit. So the blue graphs on the left indicate the number of sessions from a given metro region, and the red graphs on the right is factoring census population in those regions. Quick takeaways there. Engagement rate was down. However, that we expect that to increase, the engagement rate to come back up strongly with the return of the organic crawlability of the site. Pages for sessions, that's not a metric I particularly concern myself with in the sense that if people are finding the information they need or being inspired right away, they probably don't need to go in deep in site. With average session durations of 1.5 minutes, that's pretty strong. I would say if it was a 17% drop in the average session duration was 20 seconds, then that would be a concern. But 1:34 on site is very, very strong. We had a summary here about the technical crisis, but the lock has been resolved, so that is everything's running back up. And to note, our back-end analysis system pointed out that the sessions were up 108%, user increased by 114%, so very, very, very strong recovery wins there. Looking quickly, top level at this is the STR here is not to be confused with the short-term rentals STR. This is Smith Travel Research data. State provides this data through Visit Florida. This is lagging a little bit. This data was prepared for last month, but at any rate, they're not too far off. We're seeing very similar trends, down slightly for the beginning of the fiscal years, but we are seeing some upticks, and we'll jump into some reasons behind that a little bit. Big takeaways there. It'll be great when I can get up and talk about these things without mentioning COVID anymore. But it's, we had such a boom, particularly in Florida post COVID, and that really lasted 21 to 23. And the softening now, if you look back to pre-COVID dates, we're well above that in all categories. So the softening is a little bit more of a normalization. Plus, interest rates got kind of high, so that really decreased the amount of people's discretionary funds for travel. With interest rates dropping, we're expecting to see that more, but we jump into that in forecast here. This is a lot of information on the screen. I'm not going to go through and read it all. Our analysis system called Zenique, which is developed in-house, factors a lot of federal data. It's run through multiple AI models to run forecasting, and it also looks at the Google Analytics and other data sources from for Flagler County, and presents an outlook looking forward. So we're looking at this. Looking at the federal rate cuts are going to really ease discretionary travel spend. We're already starting to see an uptick in future bookings. Florida population growth does not hurt, even though that doesn't necessarily translate into heads and beds. We know what happens indirectly when people come to visit, they end up becoming citizens. Median age 52 is a stable retiree base supporting season demand. Now, this was a really great statistic. DAB just down the coast. It's the fastest commercial growing airport in Florida. 15.8% passenger growth in Q3 of 2025 alone. Jacksonville's still very close with great access to hub spoke legacy models, whereas you have DAB, which has hub spoke legacy models, but then they also have the more leisure-based carriers for point-to-point direct flights. 2026, looking projected at a significant increase in the number of eyes on the website. This is supported back by the media plan. Monthly average of over 118,000. We're starting to see normalized growth patterns, and everything's running as intended on the site currently, and we're delivering eyes and good engagement. So the engagement rate that we're currently seeing in the 55 to 58% is well above the DMO average of 52%. Any questions from me? Okay.
Good morning, Tom Hart, the creative director at Aqua. And to go through a little bit of the creative we've been developing, starting off with the fiscal year. In October, we kicked it off with a new production. Over 2 days, we had 7 different locations covering ground from Flagler Beach all up to the hammocks. Through the CVB's efforts, we were able to pull on and rely on some of our local partners. Obviously, establishments, services to lend a hand goes a long way to making our budget work the best. We had paid talent both days. One day was couples focused, one was families, giving us a good mix for our new assets. We also highlighted a number of activities, experiences, touch points, and a few dining opportunities. And something also key was touching on some of the different vacation levels, from the boutique resorts, an island cottage, up to the hammock in one of the vacation rentals. So again, we had some great weather most of the time. Was able to get out there on the water, able to mix and match our talent somewhat. Some great, family activities, even just relaxing poolside, giving different opportunities for to pick the destination. Vacation rentals, as we mentioned, places to check in, relax, that laid back vibe we're trying to focus on. Girlfriend's Getaway, again, another opportunity to maximize our photo shoot. So just a few of the assets we were able to capture, again, with stills and video. So part of this is to leverage our ongoing campaign. Just over a year and a half in the out in the market, we wanted to make sure that we're continuing that, but we're also refreshing. So the trails, ties, and laid back vibes, we're going to continue, but also depending on our target market, maybe it's family fun vibes or time for us vibes. But we're going to be consistent across our media. So whether it's our online digital presence, or outdoor boards using some of our new images for getaway vibes. We still have some print, whether it's family focused or e-blast campaign that's hitting the weddings potential market with Seaside Vow Vibes. And this is our one of the new videos. We'll see if it runs. Oops, it did not run. We'll see if it runs.
Let us try for a second.
It's not running. Okay. So again, we're utilizing the assets that we had before, and also with the new images to do couples focus and family focus across the board. This is the video, as Travis mentioned: YouTube, Instagram Reels, Facebook, so forth. In addition to our media paid media, we also refreshed our collateral in several instances last year, from the new look and feel for the visitor guide that pulls in some of the elements from our campaign, getting people enticed and engaged to learn more about the county, available in print form and also on the website and digital. The dining guide was refreshed. We categorized it by different areas: the hammocks, Flagler Beach, Palm Coast, and Bunnell, showcasing different establishments, restaurants, and also additional, you could get people online to learn more, find a great place to eat. And lastly was the update for the Trails Guide. This time was a pocket version. See, there's some by the back door. Again, another way of getting people out on the trails. Part of our big campaign is enjoying the beaches, enjoying the area activities. So getting access points to the trails was important. So, any questions?
Thank you. Questions?
Question, yes,
Yep.
thank you. Do you all have a way of tracking the types of posts that actually equate to conversions? So when we know, are there certain types of posts, or does the tracking allow us to say XYZ type of reels or activities or targeting to certain demographics actually convert to money spent through credit card tracking data, anything like that? Is there any way to connect those two things?
Yeah, I would say with the social media, yeah, you can absolutely go into your insights there and see which ones resonated best with the different people. From a paid advertising side, we're absolutely doing that. We're looking at everything as it comes in and which particular. Now, typically when you're doing paid advertising, it's what's called a dark post. You don't see it in the normal feed necessarily. But yeah, you're absolutely looking at that now. As far as full circle conversion, when Travis was going over the media highlights, that's where you utilize channels like Expedia, where you actually get the full circle and conversion. Otherwise, we're reliant on, if you have location-based conversion, which you'll hear from Zardico in a minute. But for Expedia, for example, they know they were exposed to the ad. They know they converted because they booked directly on their platform. Because we're not handling the booking, we don't know that it's a conversion. But we know just based on, you're going to look at TDT levels, but then you're going to also look at how engaged they were with a given post. But that is about as far as you can get with social media, because social doesn't allow for any type of Meta, at least. Facebook and Instagram don't allow for putting in a third-party tracker for attribution modeling, for location modeling, so it could actually track the device.
Mhm.
And it's kind of, and I think it's more of a privacy fear situation, because in reality, Facebook could be one of the best platforms for doing that because they know where you are. And so then if they were exposed in Illinois and then show up here, that's a location conversion at least, so you've got them here.
Mhm.
To equate to actual dollars, you couldn't really do it with that platform
Okay.
or something like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just, it's a matter of, like, obviously we see what we're paying per click, but just to see kind of what that ROI is kind of what I'm curious about, and
Right.
and whether or not certain targets should be changed, activities, et cetera, even things in the community. Are we highlighting the right activities to the right demographics because they're actually spending money here and not just because they're being entertained online?
Right. Yeah, I think you have to model that a little bit. So you look at the channels where you can track it,
Mhm.
like Expedia, or there's other platforms that can be utilized that track the full conversion. They have the credit cards attached to it, and then that gives you a little bit better. But with Expedia, You know, that's always kind of a good proof of concept to know that what you're saying is resonating when you get to a point like a 13 to 1 ROAS.
Mhm.
I mean, you do that all day long. You send $1 in the world and comes back with 12 of its friends. Perfect. You know, that's the way to go.
So are we maybe somehow in conjunction, Amy, with your office, looking at if there's a certain campaign that is running for a certain amount of time, and then seeing if that converted to bookings, money spent, et cetera, within this certain time period? In other words, connecting our
Connecting the
TDC
dots.
office data with you guys to see what that correlation is.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely something. Is now that we have a year history with y'all, I think that a heavy year of history looking at that kind of information. Then I think as we go forward, that's something we can definitely dive into more. Last year we were a little challenged with not being able to run search for 6 months,
Mhm.
but it's certainly something to look at.
Yeah, I would encourage that moving forward because we need to see what's resonating with people who are actually going to spend money here.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the point, right?
And,
So,
and my brief mention on Zanique, it's a new product we have internally, and it's going to handle a lot of that.
mhm.
We joke that we should have an AI swear jar every time somebody says AI that somebody has to put $1 in. But the bottom line is we've cooked AI in at the core. It's not bolted on the top, which a lot of things are do. So AI is looking at every possible data source, even visually. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss, that it can see really well.
Mhm.
And so to be able to look at something and see how it resonates, okay, well, these ads were focused on this. Here's the imagery that was in there. These were focused on this, and this one got a higher engagement. And then we also know through the channels where we can track full circle attribution that it responded in a certain way. So, okay, if we ran this creative and we're seeing this kind of conversion, then we can model it that the other channels are probably converting the same way with the same type of imagery if we're targeting the same type of people.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All the checks and the boxes and yeah.
I have a question. I'm,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
curious about clarification on the projections. I saw something that for 2026 it was like 1.4 million, and then something on the forecast slide here says 745,000 annual sessions. So what number are we looking at for the forecast for 2026?
2026, I would say you'd be looking at the 1.4 million, 1.4 million level. The 700,000 is probably factoring the same trend from last year, not factor in, and I'll look at that and double check for you real quick.
Yeah, it's on 42, the slide
Okay, I'll
forecast.
check that. I'll check that for you. Make sure which ones were. Or one of them should have an asterisk next to it.
And this might be a question for Travis or anybody, but do you see golf much as a draw, or you see the people in it, and then the Chat GPT? Does that fall under the AI thing that you mentioned, or like I know at the resort we're having a non-meeting planners go to Chat GPT, and so now we're having to load everything like. They can get a quote in 5 minutes and compare 5 different resorts and all that. So we're having to put a big presence on Chat GPT and answer a bunch of questions maybe that Travis is asking as a meeting planner coming up in there. Yeah.
I guess as far as the golf question, yeah, I mean, that is something that we keep consistently within our general messaging. Obviously, it's a big draw. I think Tom showed on one of the slides there an ad we did for golf that featured Hammock Beach Resort.
Thank you.
So it's definitely a consistent part of our messaging. As far as the ChatGPT question, are you saying are we
Are we present on there? Like if somebody were to, a couple in Chicago say, hey, I'm looking for a fun place to go to on the beach in Florida, does Flagler Beach come up, or?
I'm not familiar with that.
That's a
It's
different
called
vendor.
LLM.
Is what?
That's a different vendor.
It's a different bidder.
Yes.
Sorry, Travis.
No,
Yeah.
not a problem
Yeah.
at all. But to your point, no, it is a concern because it's very important that when a website's built that the schema, SCHEMA, is organized such that the AI can go in and look. Now there's a couple proposals. Right now there's a file that goes on websites that basically tells the search engine how to behave. There's several theories of how we should tell large language models, LLMs, AIs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc., how to look at a website. And it's important on your website that you have a voice of authority and that the language model, when it's training, sees you as an authority, because that's how it's confirming that information. If it's organized well and it can see the data cleanly, it likes that.
It likes
When it has to read and kind of contextually draw and When my wife gives me an obscure instruction to go to the store and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do, the LLM doesn't like that. It wants the very concise data. It doesn't get crawled as often. Google goes and looks at your site very frequently, whereas the LLMs might hit it once during a training. Now they're constantly updating these models, so they tend to go again. But yeah, it's a struggle and it's a challenge. And the problem is, on different business owners is trying to keep that
Amen.
information up to speed so that you do rank not only on Google. That was the old challenge, the SEO, the search engine optimization, but now the answer engine optimization, AEO, has become a critical aspect of that.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Ms. Robinson.
So Hilton is rolling out a thing where you can load your hotel on the AI thing. So we have to do that. So you'll be able to get data from us because my hotel is connected to all this Flagler, everything, because I sit on this board. So you won't just have to go through Expedia because, we like Expedia, but we like to make our own money.
Well, yeah, and Expedia takes a pretty good bite.
They take a good bite and we appreciate them, but we want to get our data as well. So I was just telling you that for information's sake, we have to load it up, and then you put your hotel in, and then you put your city in, and that way, when the Hilton Honors members look, they can gather all the information that we have out there about a city. So they'll be able to see all of this stuff without me having to put it on the screen. They had a thing where we were putting it on the screen, making an ad. It didn't work out good, but they're gonna have it up where it's in brand.com. So that way, if you say, I don't know, Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's going to pick up whatever information about Minneapolis is there and the hotels that put their
Yeah,
stuff
if
on.
you say I want to stay in
So
a Hilton,
that'll give you information because it's going to ask all kind of questions like, where did you see it? What did you see? Blah, blah, blah.
yeah, that's
You know?
great information. Great,
Yeah.
thank
So you'll have numbers by next year.
you. We'll adjust them.
Any other questions for our Aqua representatives? One question regarding the campaign. How long do you work a campaign? So like the Tides and Vibes campaign, how long will that last?
I mean, we see it's just over a year was last summer's when we started it. As long as our numbers, I mean, obviously you want to change it before numbers look like they might be going down, but that's why, monitoring it so closely to see if we start seeing a trend. Now, you look at the Florida Keys, they've had the same campaign for as long as anyone can remember. So they're not changing it a whole lot. Us, we need to kind of see what our neighbors are doing to make sure our message is still resonating and it's still effective. So there's not a set time limit
Okay.
on it. As long as I think that's what we looked at this year we got it out there for the first year. We were consistent with our headline and everything. So wherever you saw it was consistent. Now gives us a little flexibility to kind of tailor it a little bit closer to those different target audiences. And so there's that familiarity. It's consistent with images you're seeing on the website and on the ad. So it's really kind of locked in together, but that doesn't mean, we won't reevaluate it in the summer and look at next fiscal and see what, do we need to move it, try some new things.
Sure, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much for coming
Thank
and
you.
for the presentation. All right, next presentation is with Zardico and visitor intelligence data. So we have Miss Amy. Is it
Good morning.
Amy Dew?
Yes, it is Amy Doe, and I know we have started to work with Palm Coast and Flagler Beaches to look at the intelligence platform. We're in the process of onboarding. We're in the process of onboarding and making sure that footprint is fine-tuned, but we wanted to give you a preview today of the marketing insights and intellect that you can unlock. So before that, I just kind of wanted to give a little grounding on who I am. I grew up and was born and raised in a very landlocked state, became very allergic to winter, and fell in love with beaches. So I now am an adopted Floridian, have been here more years than Nebraska. So my background is in advertising agencies. I worked specifically with Visit Florida for about 5 years on their campaigns building the Share a Little Sunshine platform. So very familiar with tourism and worked in accounts, social, and then into their analytics department. Love travel, loving to explore culture and food, and may pop in a couple food analogies here and there. A little background on Zardico itself. They are headquartered out of Salt Lake City and are rooted in place-based marketing, specifically destinations. They launched just before the pandemic, totally not planned, otherwise would not have been. But we work with over 250 destinations currently in helping them understand that visitor journey. And with that, I guess the question is, how do we do it? So how we do it is actually, I think, similar to cooking. It depends on the ingredients that you have in there. So we take geolocation data and you think about all the ingredients in there. So in the ingredients that Zardico has is spend data, geolocation data, and lodging data. And we put that into our proprietary science and our integrated data model to come up with visitor intelligence that is not only clear, reliable, but allows you to understand what motivated the visitation, and then what impact they did when they visited Flagler, where they went, how they spent, and that helps you understand how you can continue to drive visitation. The foundation of that is basically full coverage, no human bias. So we have over 5 million POIs to really target in on key categories of their behavior while they're in your destination to understand, are they dining? Where are they spending money? And are their heads in beds? With that data set, I do want to take a moment to talk about the ingredients that go into that formula. The first is the spend data. We're reaching over 140 million credit cards, and that's over 8 billion transactions annually across 4 different credit cards and debit cards. That allows us to understand where they're spending their money while they're in destination. We also tap into geolocation data, and that's over 19 trillion observations across the world. And then looking at that visibility, not only from a visitor standpoint, but residents. So we can understand that visitor to resident ratio at each of those points of interest. And then the lodging data actually allows us to tap into 13 million hotel rooms, short-term vacation rentals. So this is the largest global data set. We work directly with Key Data to understand what verified and paid bookings. So that allows us to look at future pacing and a historic look back. I know Aqua's video didn't work, so I anticipate ours not going to work. But if you get a chance, we'll forward this video. This is an example. This was a snapshot view, and it's a visualization that shows cross-visualization at an event for the NBA All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. And it shows the patterns of the visitation of who's out of state, who's in state, and who's a resident. So you can see that pattern even outside of your boundary to see where they're going and whether or not they were planners or whether it was a weekday. But that's what this visualization shows if you prefer the visualization versus looking at the data itself. So with all of that, then what Zardico does is the operating system really reviews that true visitor journey and helps answer a lot of the marketing questions. As a marketer, I remember the questions that kept me up at night is, are we saying the right message to the right audience and at the right time? And with the operating system, this is what that unlocks, because you're answering those marketing questions at a high level to understand the workflow and the visitation patterns, to be able to arm Aqua with the campaign optimizations that are needed to understand the true audience, their behavior, and to figure out and build campaigns and itineraries that really convert. So I'll walk through very high level some of the modules in that operating system so you have an understanding of, as we continue this journey and fine tune this footprint for Flagler County, what you can possibly unlock. One of the modules is the Executive Pulse. And the Executive Pulse, I like to think of it because when you're thinking of campaigns, there's the reporting. So as you're going into a board meeting, you need to talk high level on what visitation and spend looks like. The Executive Pulse is going to do that for you. The Quality Visitor Index is a separate module that understands not only what origin markets they're coming from, but what are the high quality origin markets that are really going to be cost efficient for you? Because we know that there's only a certain limit of how much budget you can have. So looking at that quality visitor index really allows you to be laser focused on what are the key markets that are going to actually convert. Profiles. This gives you a good snapshot of understanding from those origin markets not only demographic information, but what are their behaviors when they're in market. Do they tend to like outdoor? And when they do like outdoor, what are other places that they're visiting? The destination lift, when a marketing campaign is live, that destination lift you'll be able to see high level metrics that you can compare and keep a pulse year over year how well you're performing. And then the local visitor lens not takes away the boundaries of radius limitations because we're defining a visitor as someone who's outside that funding boundary, but outside 50-mile radius. But the local visitor, as we know, there are individuals who are outside the funding boundary, but within the 50-mile radius. So that local visitor lens hones in specifically for that audience. And the economic impact, and I'll give you a couple snapshots on this in the upcoming slides, but you'll be able to start to see not only seasonal opportunities, but then lodging insights, as we mentioned, not only short-term vacation rentals, but hotels on a very high level to look at those KPIs to help you forecast, but also look at the historical information. And that's really to hone in on the focus of this is all built on movement. I know there's surveys out there, there's old data, and that was always the challenge as I looked back at those questions of, are we reaching the right audience? When is the time? What are the right channels? This is actually based on real movement from those data sets and ingredients that we saw early on. It helps make marketing decisions and helps arm the marketing team to be able to really be laser focused and defend these decisions that you're looking at, whether it is we identified a market that has a lot of growth potential and is a highly efficient market. So you want to lean in on that. Or there could be a market where you notice that there is a little bit of a downtick. That's where you can identify what are their patterns and be able to do some A/B testing there. Here's a quick snapshot of some of the data that you can see. This is all sample data, but a breakdown of understanding that your visitors are really making economic impact. And from this, your marketing team can look at attractions are really strong. So with that, that's going to be our primary driver. That can be our hook. But then you can take a look at that restaurant percentage, and that's going to be your secondary. So you can start building itineraries that really engage your visitors, landing pages that convert, and then be able to go back and measure. Let's say Aqua has that campaign. Then you can look at that yearly data. And if it's really focused on attractions, do you see a lift in that visitation? Do you see that behavior change? And are they investing in that? And I do want to hit on a little snapshot of that local visitor lens that we talked about. In that module itself, those visitation patterns, you're able to differentiate and build out almost a two-prong approach in how you approach your regular visitors because they're engaging in the same way. Are they going to accommodations, restaurant, and retail? And how much of the pie are they taking there? And then from that two-prong approach, you know their behavior is not the same. So the visualization and graphs that are shown there, you can easily build a campaign for the two different audiences, knowing that it's going to really be personalized and convert them in separate ways. Last but not least, and I know you're never supposed to have a favorite child, but the Visitor Journey app is our newest feature. And this is really helping tap into more granular information on POI information specifically to understand cross-visitation information. For example, if they are going to Flagler Beach, where else are they going? Are they then going to a brewery afterwards? What does that day in the life of a visitor look like? And I know that was a lot of information, and based on the questions that Aqua got, I opened the floor. I know right now, like I said early on in the conversation, we are still working on the onboarding process with Amy and her team to build out what that footprint looks like so then we can unlock these insights for y'all.
Thank you. Amy, did you want to give any background to that, just for context?
Yes, if the board recalls, our previous vendor who did similar type of work was a rivalist. And while we were satisfied with them, Zardico has really become, in our opinion, the leading vendor in this. What other features they have that was particular interest was the spend in the different categories. The other thing, Amy, I don't know if you want to touch on it, what we're able to do with that kind of addressed one of the previous questions where we're able to put the tags on different ads. Yep, if you want to explain that.
For well, that we do have a product that's media attribution that allows you to look at different tags on, like if you are having Expedia, and I know Chip kind of touched on it, Meta is untouchable. You're not able to get the attribution there, but other digital platforms, you're able to apply the tags on there. And the reason why we introduced the media attribution is to be able to, we don't want Expedia to grade their own homework, right? You don't want them to actually see this is how this is performing. So we actually use a calculator to take a look at spend to understand what that attribution is from each of the media, and it gives them the full picture of the visitation. Okay, here's how they were aware. Now here's their visitor behavior because it's now connected across the board. Because it is pixeled through each of those ad placements. But yes, Meta is probably the only one that we're not able to tap into.
Much better than I could have done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as Amy said, also we are still in the onboarding process with Zardico, but we are very excited. And each meeting we will include those reports in our regular marketing
Okay.
reports and highlight. Amy does a great job so far of giving us a snapshot of what she's seeing, and they work. Zardico works very well with Aqua. And then we have a new vendor. I was going to say this for comments, but a new website vendor that will be designing our new website. They also, their name is Tempest. So they also work well with Zardico. They all, this is their sweet spot is tourism and hospitality. So it's a small world and they all know each other. So we're looking forward to bringing all of these vendors together to help maximize those dollars.
Very good. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
Is
sir.
this
Go for it.
modeled data or is this verified transaction data?
Verified transaction data. But it is a sample set, so you get the high level spend data, but it is actual transactions.
So following Don, on the diagram that you had where 60% of restaurants were local people. That's all I have to say.
So, well, actually, I was curious because if you guys have the ability to see, because I would like to know where do people come from before they come to my place and where they go after, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that when I work with other businesses, it's great to be able to work together and say, hey, they were at over by the landing or something north side, and they're coming here, so I know that I'm going to start doing some advertising over there to kind of help that. Or
They were at
Should be.
Marineland and I
Yes.
sent them to you.
Yes,
what I'd like to
that's
see.
that visitor journey that we will be able to tell Johnny.
Johnny, she has a nice example report Oceanside right here. You
Mhm.
click on that, you can see a map.
Oh, look
And
at that.
I would use that as a for placement because we do want to finish like the onboarding, but you'll be able to click on there and answer exactly what you're talking about. Currently, the visitor journey app just looks at the funding boundary. And just a little bit of a teaser, we are working on that visitor journey app to actually look outside the boundary as well. But currently, it's just within the funding boundary that you'll be able to see. It's a dynamic report. You can kind of see a snapshot there, but you'll see your local visitors, what county they're coming from, what percentage is residents, how many are visitors, and then with each of the main primary categories, whether it's attractions or outdoors, you'll be able to see that cross visitation pattern.
I have a question. Will we also see what data is not captured? And I know that might sound like kind of a backwards question, but in order to provide a whole picture, so if we know we can't capture every single person coming into the county and visiting, are we also going to see data on what it is that is not captured in the actual reports? So in other words, if we've got 100% of the visitors, but only 80% are actually captured, will we also see, hey, we're not getting data from 20% or whatever that looks like?
Yeah, no, that is a part of we do provide at the bottom. It's actually just, I think, earlier this week. You're able to see the sample size at the bottom, and that's a part of that normalization process, but you're not able to see what percentage or what margin is not accounted for.
Okay, that was my next question. What margin is not
Yeah.
accounted for? Okay.
It's the sample size will help out because the problem when we did that was then people were trying to do their own math,
Mhm.
which got hairy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, very technical term.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you very much for the presentation. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All right. Next presentation is our annual fund 111 Beach Renourishment Report and Updates. Ms. Lukasik and Mr. Brian Eichinger.
Thank you, Board. As you know, we dedicate 1 penny. This year it's 2 pennies toward beach renourishment. And we have asked county staff to annually update the TDC board. So this is the snapshot. This is the cover sheet of all the financials for fiscal year 25 is in the first block. And then what they're projecting this year. You'll see under grants, 5.8, obviously that's not TDC money. Grants, those are other grants that are other departments are able to secure through state agencies. A lot of our TDC revenue went to whether it was securing easements and doing a lot of that recording for those easements, and also any local matches that needed to be provided. And the same, I think, is on deck for fiscal year 26. And I know they're still working on more easements. And if there's any questions as far as any specific expenditures, we do have someone here from finance to answer. If not, we can get the annual update from our county engineer of the beach projects.
Any questions?
I have a couple.
Ms. Cook?
Just interesting, your budget projection down there. I can see why we're now having 2 pennies. So we've kind of doubled the revenue there, but then the interest earnings really dropped. Do we know why? And then the grants availability went down instead of up when we're providing more matching funds. So I'm just curious.
Brian Eckinger, Financial Services. So we always keep our interest low. It is a combination of interest rates in the entire country and our cash balances. So even though we say, just using this example, we're supposed to get $1.7 million in TDT revenue, we don't get that all on day one. We also have cash advances from the general fund to help cash flow about these projects. So it's not guaranteed that we're going to earn any rate of interest. So we always keep that conservatively low.
Are we looking at less grants or something?
Just as they come available. Primarily what we get every time we get a hurricane, we're going to get FEMA funding, and then whatever FDP provides us.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move to the county engineer's report. Is Hamid here?
Yes.
Hamid Tabassian with the county. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Hamid Tabassian, county engineer, and appreciate the opportunity to provide a brief update on our beach management plan projects. I had a few slides. If Carlos can pull that up there.
Where are they?
It's in the folder.
The TDC folder?
Yeah, item 4D. It's a PowerPoint.
Up to?
Sorry about that. I did that on Monday, and
It's open on your computer. It's saying it's open on your computer. I might be able to just. Okay. That way. We got it.
yeah, as you all know, our 18-mile of coastline, in consideration of physical and environmental characteristics, have been divided into 4 distinct reaches. And I'll be going over each one of them briefly to update you on each one of those projects. On the map here shows all 4 reaches. On the left is the Volusia County line. On the right, the St. Johns County line. And here, our Reach 1 project consists of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, CSRM, the Coastal Storm Risk Management project, a federally funded projects, and the 2 non-federal tapers that was completed back in 24 with funding from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, FDOT, and FDEP. Back in October of 25, Reach 1 experienced a considerable erosion, and we requested the Army Corps of Engineers to assess those impacts, and they completed a project information report and reported back in January 22nd of this year that basically the migration of the sand and the impacts did not amount to the level that calls for a emergency renourishment of the beach and is not economically justified. So with that, I'll move on to Reach 2, which is,
Before you do,
yes, ma'am.
do you get to appeal that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question too.
I'm sorry.
Can
Do
you
you-
appeal that?
Do you get to appeal their opinion that it was not economically justified? Do you get to appeal it?
The actual report has not been formally submitted,
Okay.
but we can look into it. I don't know exactly the answer to that, but I want to say no at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Reach 2 that we have been working on and to obtain the permit and the design of that, which is pretty much completed in January of this year. We made the final updates to the plans and bid documents, and it's ready to be issued. The last box that needs to be checked on that is the approval of FDOT. That is a funding partner for the project. The project starts on the south end where the taper on that phase 1 ended, which is 7th Street North, and extends all the way north to Warren Park, 5.5 miles of beach nourishment and dune restoration. The total sand required for this project is estimated to be 1.8 million cubic yard of sand that would be done through dredging operation, and the estimated cost of that is approximately $35 million, with participation from mainly FDEP, FDOT, and FEMA.
Again, sorry.
Yes,
Cook.
Before the FDOT funding of 6 million from, which is reallocated from Reach 1, if the appeal is done, can that 6 million go back to Reach One?
That $6 million was generated because of the funding that Reach One.
Didn't use.
We obtained FDEP funding for Reach One. Therefore, we are working with FDOT, and in fact, the that agreement for reallocation of the surplus fund to be transferred to Reach Two is pending. We expect that receiving that late February and take it to our board in second meeting in March for the board approval, so that $6 million would be utilized for Reach Two, which is again could be used only within that southern portion of Reach Two, which is where the FDOT Seacon malls are,
Okay.
from 7th Street to basically the Beverly Beach borderline.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we anticipate to issue that invitation to bid in early March and receive bids and award the project perhaps in April or May of this year. And we expect the construction to start in summer. However, we're going to be giving the contractors 365 days window from the notice to proceed for them to complete the project. And that is for us to receive the most favorable bids based on their availability of the equipment and the hopper and what is needed to complete the project. Our next reach is basically the Reach 3 from Warren Park to Washington Oak State Park, which is shown here in yellow. This is the comprehensive beach nourishment project design and permitting that is currently underway. We anticipate this process to complete in first quarter of 27. Right now, still in the process of data collection and completing the survey, which is going to be completed in summertime, then get into the alternative analysis and following basically the permit um, acquisition. However, in the meantime, we are currently implementing some emergency truck haul projects along what is shown here, Reach 3A, 3B, and 3C and 4A. Those three sections, 3A, B, and C, are completed. 3A is the Hammock Dune Owner Association from Warren Park to Jungle Hut that was in participation with FDEP funding, the county, and Hammock Dune Owner Association funding participation. The Reach 3B is the Hammock, Ocean Hammock and Hammock Beach Club reach basically from Jungle Hut to Malacompra area. That is also completed. The same with Reach 3A, which is part of the FEMA Cat G funding that got completed, and currently the contractor is working on Reach 4A from north of Washington Oak State Park to River to Sea Park there. And this segment is expected to complete it by end of March. So with that, concludes my report, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Hamid. Any questions on the beach nourishment? Commissioner Cooley?
So when the storm event happened that caused a lot of the damage with the Army Corps project, it also caused a lot more damage to the taper portion of the project. And one of the things that is happening is, for instance, for Reach 2, county is building to a different dune height than what the Army Corps did. I think significantly less, almost half. So there's concern with the different damages, being that taper took a lot more damage than the Army Corps height did. There's been a lot of concern about, is Reach 2 being built to what you would call the proper height? So if Army Corps deemed the dunes should be built to X height, but then moving forward for Reach 2 and some of these other ones, it's going to be significantly less. And I know there's a cost factor there, but is there a particular rationale about, risk versus cost? And, why would Reach 2 not get built to the recommended Army Corps height is really the question. And some of the rationales behind it, I didn't know if, county engineer knows that or could answer that.
We can ask him.
Yeah, I'll be glad to take a stab at that. These are each location has physically is different. The area within the Reach 1 CSRM, obviously that is the height there existing was different. When we moved to Reach 2, there on the southern portion within the city of Flagler Beach, we have the secant walls. And the height there is different. So in that area right now, the approximately it's about 30 cubic yard per foot within that area of the secant wall with basically from North 7th Street to Osprey Lane, which is the northern boundary of Flagler Beach. So within that area, we have the secant wall, and it was designed to for beach nourishment and basically adding sand in front of those walls that you can build up to the level that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the CSRM, that was 100 cubic yard per foot of sand. So it has been, the project has been designed in accordance to the site condition and what is there. Then as you move north on Reach 2, say in the Painters Hill area, where there is a huge drop off with the private properties are obviously there is requiring more sand. We are going up to 60, 70 cubic yard per foot. But all of these we got to take into consideration that once we receive bids, depending on how the bids comes in, we may have to again go back to the drawing and redesign and adjust to the project budget. For example, within that southern 2 miles of Reach 2, where we have the secant walls, currently the budget for that is the 6 million that we have from FDOT. And like I said, the needs for that is for what it has been designed for. About 25 to 30 cubic yard per foot of sand.
So just as a follow-up, is it viewed that the resilience of Reach 2 in the other reaches would be equivalent to Reach 1?
Well, of course, Reach 1, there, if you want to go back to the resiliency where you have the secant wall, you have that armoring system that is could be much more resilient at the end of the day. Should we experience any, you know, to that extent, erosion, but
If I might add, two things that you mentioned. One is the taper. The taper really is a bad place to judge, but because of the dynamics of it tying back, it's going to receive more erosion than the flat parts are going to historically. So I wouldn't use the taper too much as the basis. But the resilience is in the extension, the renourishment part that extends out away, not so much the dune, because it's the renourishment out that does all the protection, because it's pushing the dynamics farther away from the dune. But I'm not. Is that going to be consistent? Is the distance out going to be consistent with Reach 1?
yeah,
Okay.
the width of the beach, yeah,
Okay.
that's what.
But height of the dune is different. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Cook.
Could you go back to where all four reaches are up on the PowerPoint, please? Yeah. So why isn't that included? That's the northern part of our county. Why is that not included with beach renourishment?
That
Because it stops at River to Sea, and they're doing wonderful work right now. But
right, those are where the Marineland ripraps are, and that is that there is no it was determined that there is not much can be done there with the current the way it is, those ripraps that are placed.
well, during Ian, 6 foot of sand washed out from underneath the granite rock. So now that wall is 6 feet lower.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure why the county would ignore that piece and not build it back up.
I wouldn't say we have ignored it, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see
yeah.
it marked up there anywhere
Mhm.
because it's to the right of R-23.
Yeah,
Just curious.
I can look into it and
Please do.
yeah, this
Thank you.
all came out of the beach management study,
Mhm.
and these reaches were established based on what can be done.
Mhm.
That riprap and along the Marineland area, that was my understanding is that a FEMA funded project that and there is with the constraints that we got there is not really a viable opportunity to add sand there. But
I would
we
say
can
too,
look into it.
the county's not the permitting agency.
Right. Mhm.
So
But they drive it. They drive what permits are needed.
Right, but we don't determine the design. It is state and federal, specifically federal, that's governing how beaches are renourished, and they are opposed to mechanical protections like the riprap. all of the things that we've been doing other than DOT, which is protecting their infrastructure. It's a natural dune system and the extension of it. So, as I understand the processes, once you put that mechanical system in place, then it would have to come out for for federal funding to go back in. Um, and I mean, I don't know who put the riprap in when that was done.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not the plan from the federal government on how they want to renourish the beaches. So it may be the fact that that's installed, which could be limiting any work once you
For
get to the
renourishment.
riprap, right?
Got it. Thank you.
That's my interpretation, and
It was installed with FEMA money though, so that was confusing to me that since it was,
the riprap.
yeah, that since FEMA money was used for it, supposedly FEMA money helps restore it. And
Yes,
that's as far as I got on my research of it. I couldn't get anyone else to.
But we do. The other news too is we do have, the county has hired a new coastal engineer. So we've basically swapped people. We lost ours to St. Johns County, and we hired one away from St. Johns County. So
It's okay. At least they know
so
the
they'll
coast.
be getting up to speed, and a great question once they get
Thank you.
acclimated.
Thank you.
But yeah, if that riprap gets impacted to the level that needs to be reconstructed, yes, that would just like these CAT-G projects, since it's engineered basically armoring system
Okay.
that FEMA paid for. If it gets to the level that needs to be reconstructed, there would be opportunity to obtain funding from FEMA.
Got it.
But as of now, from what we understand, we can go there and do a beach nourishment.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you, Hamid.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
All right, and our last presentation is on the Flagler County Cultural Council, our FC3 annual update. Miss Danielle Anderson, patiently waiting. Thank you, ma'am.
Hey guys.
Oh, thank you.
I'm happy the little Easter.
Here, we'll pass them around.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So am I supposed to do this? All right, so this is my first presentation for FC3, so please be kind. No arrows or tomatoes, if you don't mind. My name is Danielle Anderson. I'm the current chair of the Flagler County Cultural Council. And this is our FC3 TVC update. And this is a quote that Nancy picked out, our previous chair, and I just thought it was really nice to kind of leave that here. To kind of symbolize that what we're doing is we're building on the great work that she did to get us started and moving forward. So, of course, you guys do know who we are. We support the, first, thank you for letting me be here today. We support our arts, culture, and history here in Flagler County, and we're comprised of members from the community representing each of those sectors. I am the current chair. Denise Garcia is our vice chair. Julia Trulio has remained as our treasurer, and then we've retained Nancy Crouch, Jay Shear, Lawson Glasser Green, Greg Feldman, and Kathy Wilcox. And we have representatives from each of the county and municipalities here in our community, and we thank them for serving. We don't actually have Beverly Beach on there, which hopefully we can get them on board too. And then if somebody from Marineland might like to join, that would be great too. Always welcome those. So we've been pretty busy over the last couple of years doing really great things. And this just kind of gives you an overview. I won't read it to you and bore you, but it's been pretty incredible considering that the past two attempts to do this kind of an effort have failed. And to see it so strongly moving forward, it's It really says a lot about our community and the people that are dedicated to making this work. I think one of the big highlights is that we have completed our strategic plan and are currently working to execute it based on the 3 pillars that we have here. And so you can see support is a huge one for us. Advocacy here, working with all of our local agencies and the state and fostering collaboration. I think this is the slide I really want to just talk to you guys about because this is really important. Over the past couple of years, we have executed nearly $200,000 in grants for the city of Palm Coast through their arts grant program. We've delivered $50,000 in student scholarships, thanks to Nancy's advocacy with people she knows throughout the country. We've completed our strategic plan and are now executing it. We're set to administer the Flagler County's TDC Destination Development Grants. That's coming this year. We have secured a volunteer grant writer, which will be huge for us trying to go for federal and state grants. We hosted a successful Flagler Turtle Trail showcase reception in collaboration with Expressions Gallery on Colbert. And if anybody attended, there were over 150 people there. They said it was the largest turnout that they have ever had. We have recruited a highly effective membership chair. If anyone knows Kathy Wilcox, you know that she is a go-getter and she's going to make these things happen for us. We've developed and are currently executing a strategic regional marketing plan, which includes working with our print and digital magazines, not just here in Flagler County, but throughout the Northeast Florida region. We're set to host a joint spring art festival with the Garden Club at Palm Coast. What we're doing is we're combining 2 of the largest festivals that take place into, it's basically going to be a super festival. We're getting ready to host our first member quarterly in collaboration with the Flagler County Historical Society. It'll be at the New Vault Museum at the Historical Courthouse. We recently scored 85.3 on the state grant, and we send a letter advocating for full funding of those grants at the state level. So we're hoping to get that. That'll provide an operational grant for us. So of course, while I was sitting here listening to all the other amazing things going on, I remembered there's some things I forgot. So we are actually working with St. Johns County Cultural Council to establish our license plate grant program. We are the local arts agency, so we do receive those funds from the arts license plates. So we'll be working with them. They have a great program, and they're going to come down and give us some pointers so that we can maybe model their program. We've been working with Cycle Film to create promotional videos and also narratives of residents here telling the arts, culture, and history story of Flagler County. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So really, the real question is, what do we need from you guys? You've already supported us with funding, which we appreciate, but there's some things that you can do to help us still that we do need. We need you to be members. We need you to share on social media what we're doing. We want you to get your friends involved. We want you to please attend events with us. And we can put as much marketing out there as we want, but the most powerful recommendation FC3 can have is your word of mouth recommendation to one of your friends or your neighbors. So that's kind of where we are, and we've got a big year planned, and we're really excited. So any questions?
Questions for Danielle?
Doing
Yeah.
a great job.
Gosh, that was easy.
Is there an online registration
For
membership?
absolutely, yeah. And we actually got our very first $1,000 sponsor from a business right at Christmas. South State Bank came on. We asked them, "Would you like to be a sponsor?" And Maria said yes. Wrote a check. So it's that easy to get people involved. They're excited about what we're doing, and we want you to be excited about it, because if you're excited, then other people will be excited about it too, and we'll be successful. Oh, and if you want to take a look at the social media marketing report, what it does have in here, it's really small, but is it on here that we can see it?
No.
So on here, if you look at it, I kind of have the our website guys pull it up. You can take a look and see how our marketing Our social media marketing has grown over the past year. And also with the website, you can get a really good snapshot at what people are looking at when they come to our website, like what their questions are and what they're looking for in our community. So I just thought that was kind of interesting because it's definitely grown over the past year. And we try to keep it up pretty current. There's a blog on there. There's links to all of our members and things like that. So it's a lot of really good information. But if you just take some time and dive into it, you can see what people are looking at. Are they able to see it? Oh, wait, there it is. Yeah, okay. So it'll be, go to the next page. It's got the little numbers. Yeah, that's like all of our regular social media stuff. We're working on those. Email is getting better. People are, we have a pretty consistent opening for that. And then, yeah, right here. It's kind of hard to see, but if you can look on your page, it shows you that the numbers have gone up. And that's, the first one is a comparison, I believe, January 2025 over January 2026. You can see how much it's grown. And then the next one is the 2025 analytics total. And then January 26, just this month, what people have been looking at. So it gives you like a really cool little snapshot. So, all right, is that it?
That's it.
Oh yeah, and just make sure you take a look at this. Can you show them this one? Because like we like to brag because we're in the news. And these are things that you guys can share on your own social media with your friends. I know like it's free to share it. So it just takes a minute for you to just grab it and click it and share it out. And people just start to get more familiar with us and get excited. So, all right.
All right.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you
day.
for being here. If there's no objection, since we still have, before our presenters leave, if I could open it up to questions from the public on the presenters. If that's okay with everybody. I'll open it up for public comment, since we do have some people in the audience. If you have any specific questions on the presentations, then go to the mic, state your name, and ask your questions, and we'll, while they're still here.
My name's
Can you repeat that name?
my name is Bing. I'm Dr. Lynn Bravo Rosewater. I live in the hammock, and I want to say that I feel disappointed that in all the presentation and on the money spent, there's not any mention that the hammock exists. And you say ecotourism, and the hammock is absolutely the spot to have that. You have the ability to ride the bike trails. You have dirt bike trails. You have the ability to launch kayaks, canoes, water paddles at Bing's Landing, and new ones will be put in when they do the redo of that. You have all the beaches. You have some wonderful institutions like the Whitney, the new Whitney, where you can visit. They're doing very exciting studies of little teeny weeny organisms to see if they can figure out how they would help human health. And you can wander around and see all those. They also have a hall that's just all interactive materials. And my disappointment is that I've been working very hard on this, and
Is there specific questions for the presenters?
okay, well, my specific questions are, why isn't the hammock more shown? They, when I talk to the guys who did the advertising, what they say is, oh, we show the trails, we show this, we show that, but nothing says, guess what? This is all in one place. And I just feel like it's a barrier island, trying to keep it heavily wooded, and it has anything that you want to do in terms of outdoor experience. You can bird watch, you can fish, you can be on the intercoastal in all kinds of things that you can launch yourself. You can There's Marine Land, which is going to continue. The people that bought it are going to continue it. There is the Turtle Hospital. There's the Whitney. There's all these opportunities, and Prince's Place and help me, Amy. Gamble Rogers have camping. There's also some cabins at Princess Place, and one is a handicapped cabin, and they have built a mile round concrete trail for people on wheelchairs.
I want to make sure we address the question, though.
Okay, the question is, why is the hammock not highlighted? It says Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. We are not Palm Coast. And that got made very obvious when you said we can tax you folks because you're not incorporated. And I just think that this is a marvel to have. It's very special, and it just does not get put into this. I have contacted an engineer and asked him if he could make an interactive thing so that you could ask a question and you could push the button and it would show you a picture of what you're asking about. It would show you video of it. And what I was asking for was under $3,000 to get that done. And there's not money in the budget for that. So I'm just saying, I'm really disappointed that it's, it's just kind of not put out there that this exists. I understand you're doing advertising for all of Flagler County, but we are a part of Flagler County.
Okay, is there another question?
That's it.
Okay. Amy, do you want to take a stab at that? And because I don't know that we have any of the presenters want to go with that, so I'm going to look to you.
Yeah, I think I can address it, and if Aqua wanted to chime in, but probably the answer that Aqua provided was we do drive people to those activities. We don't necessarily say come to the hammock. The hammock is a neighborhood that we are familiar with, and probably some of our surrounding communities. But when we're marketing to Orlando and South Florida and into Georgia and all the way up the Northeast coast, people aren't looking for the name, the hammock. And so our goal is to drive people to the hammock, because if you look at the address, even of Marineland, it says St. Augustine. Same with Whitney. So it starts to create this possible confusion for folks that aren't necessarily geographically very familiar with our area. So if someone were to Google the hammock, it's really not a technically municipality, right? So it's more just from helping people navigate geographically, but we do drive people to those assets in the hammock. They just aren't searching, I want to go to the hammock. They want to come to our community to do nature, do sports, do beach, whatever. So that's kind of how we address it without necessarily not saying come to the hammock. Just like we don't say come to Bunnell.
No.
Yeah.
Ms. Walker wanted to have a comment.
I would like to make a comment as the tourism professional, as the international tourism professional on this group. People are looking for a destination, not specifically parts of a county or parts of an area. They're not, if they want to come to Flagler County, they're looking for Palm Coast, they're looking for Flagler Beach, because that's the name that are outstanding. But we don't look for Bunnell. We don't look for other areas of the county like the hammock, which is lovely, but we look for the attractions in those areas. And so it's like if I go to Paris, I'm not looking for certain arrondissements. I'm looking for the attractions within that destination. So I hope that makes you understand why it's not necessarily the Hammock or Bunnell or Grand Haven or the P section or what have you. It's the whole that we advertise and we promote here that includes all of those.
And we're able, with Zardico, that cell phone data, we're able to see now where the concentration is of folks, and we'll be able to see what assets, where in the hammock people are going, and if they go to Marineland, where else are they going? So we will be able to track that to a certain degree.
Okay, thank you. We'll have another opportunity at the end of the meeting if you get more. All right, let's move on to general business, and we've got a few items on general business fund.
The strategic voice.
Whoops. So the first one is Fund 1110, fiscal year 26 discretionary event funding. So the first up is the $8,000 continuing education company spring conference.
The strategic voice.
All right, I'm done.
Yep. We are not the communications department.
And these are the same ones that we
Yeah,
we do every year.
Yes, yes.
And they do bring in a lot of tourism, a lot of restaurant eaters, a lot of
Chair, can I make a motion to approve all three at once, if that's all right? Well, I think all of us know
Yep.
all of these organizations, and for time, I'd appreciate moving that a little quicker.
All right, let's do the, we have three items. Item one, $8,000 for continuing education company spring conference session 1 from March 30th through April 3rd, 2026. Second item, $8,000 continuing education company spring conference session 2, April 6th through 10th of 2026. And the third is $5,000 for United Flag Football National Championship qualifier, April 25th through 26th, 2026. I would just ask that the motion identify the three items under general business, section A.
Great.
Motion to approve all three?
Motion by Mr. Lutherai,
Second.
second by Ms. Walker. I'll open it up for public comment. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to these three items? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. And we'll move to quarterly marketing updates. Ms. Courtney Brokaw, Marketing Manager.
Good morning. Excuse me. Well, we'll go quickly here because I know we're into our second hour. Can you go to the next slide, Ange, please? Again, we just wanted to add a refresher on the marketing objectives and strategy. On the left, you'll see our marketing efforts wheel, which highlights our various strategies and marketing tools. And on the right is that inverted pyramid that shows a visitor's journey and the different stages that we try to market toward. Next. So just a recap of the first quarter. In October, our content was centered around fall fun. We had a bucket list blog with a roundup of things to do. We mentioned the Lehigh Trail, shop at Poppy's Market, see a show at the Flagler Auditorium. We also had a feature on the Witches of Flagler Beach event, as well as a Halloween events roundup and more. And you'll see that the top clicked link was the events page. And Angie?
Hi guys. So this is our social highlights, and we're just gonna go through month by month of I'm gonna just show some of the top performing content and some content overview and data. Our strategy is always to increase destination awareness, support partner visibility, and drive users to the website for trip planning and visitation. In October, the top performing posts centered around seasonal experiences and strong visual storytelling. The links to these posts, if you did want to see them, they're in the bottom where it says see post. So you can copy and paste and view. On the right, this was at the request of the board during our last meeting. We compiled audience demographic data to better illustrate our local versus non-local audience. You'll notice that this data is displayed on each of the monthly slides going forward. This data was pulled in January and is a current snapshot from Sprout Social. It is not month specific. It represents our overall audience composition at the time of the reporting. Facebook has approximately 30,000 followers. Instagram has 8,700. Roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of our audience is within local Flagler County, with the majority representing non-local followers. Our audience is predominantly female, which aligns with the national research showing that women are primarily decision makers, travel decision makers. The content by the numbers, we shared 82 partners were featured, 58 events were promoted, 17 were direct blogs or to the website, and a total number of 44 posts between Facebook and Instagram. Courtney?
Okay. In in November, our content was geared toward Thanksgiving travel. We had a blog on why Palm Coast and the Flagler Beaches is a perfect Thanksgiving destination. Again, that's using those targeted SEO keywords to pull in organic traffic, and we get those SEO keywords from our current web company, that's SimpleView or Granicus. We also had a roundup of restaurants offering Thanksgiving meals and a highlight featuring Veterans Day discounts, which is always a popular one.
In November, we slightly increased our volume of content to support holiday travel and seasonal experiences. November's strongest post leaned again on holiday experiences and event-driven storytelling. Links are provided on these as well. As mentioned, the demographics are consistent across these slides. In November, 83 partners were featured, 45 events were promoted, 19 direct website and blog shares, and there was a total of 50 posts.
Okay, and then in December, we had a roundup on where to meet Santa. This blog always performs really well with organic search. Everybody's wanting to go see the big guy. A blog highlighting the Palm Coast Boat Parade. This event is a favorite. It is always one of our top clicked links and events on the website. So the sooner we can get information on the events, because they're so popular and they drive a lot of traffic, the better. So that's something we're trying to ask our partners to consider. Earlier, I think Mr. Baker asked about the chat GPT, the LLMs, and one of the things with that we've heard from SimpleView is that we need to publish the content earlier. So so let's say we're having a Valentine's Day event or a special meal. I know it's hard for the partners to get that information out early because they're so busy, but that's what helps drive traffic. And so if we can get that information sooner, the better for everybody. So, Angie?
So in December, it was our highest volume month for Q1, and we maximized holiday exposure through holiday trip planning with events and storytelling. Our strongest posts were centered again around holiday experiences, giftable experiences, and event-based. Mm-hmm. 113 partners were featured, 72 events were promoted, 25 direct website and blog shares, and 60 total posts overall.
At our October meeting, Commissioner Cooley, you expressed your concerns regarding the pier construction, and then you wanted us to focus on reminding locals and visitors that Flagler Beach is open for business. over the holidays. So we had Aqua put together some paid social ads, and Angie also did some social posts on our page to promote visitation. For paid social, we ran 2 ads. One was an overall destination event that included holiday events in Flagler Beach, and the other was solely focused on dining, shopping, events, and where to stay. Both ads were directed to a holiday blog post on our website, and both performed very well with 154 impressions and a cost per click of just 16 cents.
Good job.
This is a highlight of some of the social media campaign for that. So again, we launched a social campaign reinforcing that Flagler Beach remains open during the pier reconstruction. The focus was to communicate free parking and to highlight the downtown businesses do remain fully operational. We developed a map graphic to help show the little parking that was impacted, and we shared the City of Flagler Beach's project progress page and official parking map as a visitor reference. Additional content was made to highlight nearby businesses and maintain visibility of the construction. Since launching in December, we published 10 related posts and featured 19 downtown partners. This campaign will continue throughout the construction process to help support foot traffic and spending. And then other special recognition, we did like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Commissioner Eric Cooley's beloved dog Wednesday. Passed away in this past December, just before the holiday season. Wednesday was a community favorite and the unofficial mascot of the Flagler Beach's Hang 8 dog surfing competition. It was always a joy to see her, showing even the littlest of dogs love to surf the waves. On behalf of the Tourism Development Office, we'd like to share our sincere condolences and present a small token in memory of Wednesday. And that's all, if there's any questions.
Any questions? So we combined the 2 reports.
We try to.
Good. Thank you. All right.
The big guns.
Sorry, I didn't know about your dog. Sorry to hear about that.
You have a new dog?
I had a interesting the day after Christmas. 2 dogs got dumped at the store, and so I took them in, and then they're doing well. They have a long way to go. We just got them trained on how to walk on a leash, so we're starting with the very basics.
Surfboard next.
Next is teaching them.
Yeah.
Next is teaching them to surf.
That's right.
All right. Next is department updates. So Ms. Kasich.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Most of you received the email that next week we will have Clarity of Place, which is our consultant that'll be helping us with our 10-year tourism master sustainability plan. We will be doing, when they first arrive, a windshield tour. We'll be taking them around the county and showing them a lot of our assets. And then they'll be doing stakeholder group sessions, one-on-ones, phone interviews, and of course there's a survey that's been live for about a week-ish now. I know we're over 200 responses. We are doing paid social media so that we can get all the community input, and we are specifically asking a variety of questions, but specifically towards sports, ecotourism, the beaches, arts and culture and history, and that'll help. Those responses will help with our 10-year master plan and then our 3-year strategic plan out of that. As I mentioned earlier, we did select through the RFP process a new website vendor, yay, Tempest, and that is set to go before the County Commission on March 2nd for approval. We also are seeking approval on March 2nd for our open seat here at the TDC for a lodger. The applicant is a vacation rental, one of the largest vacation rental companies here in the county. So that's something that has not been represented ever on this council. So I'm looking forward to to having their perspective. And the other thing, I'll speak for Stephen since he won't be here, but or since he's not here, he had to go do a site visit for the PGA. But for those of you who missed the press release, there's a huge PGA tour that has happened in Jacksonville for years and is coming to Hammock Beach Resort, Furyk and Friends PGA Tour. That's October 5th through 11th. It's like a $2.1 million purse. The organization will be seeking TDC grant funding assistance, so we are working with them. But this will be a huge event from a televised perspective, not necessarily thousands of room nights, but they do expect around 5,000 people over the course of the event. So that's pretty exciting for that to be here. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Amy? All right. Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes.
Just to, because she mentioned Stephen's name, I know when we voted ahead, he would have recused himself for numbers 1 and 2. It should be noted that he wasn't in the room to vote, so he did not vote for them.
Good point.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. If we can, when we do the minutes, just note when Stephen left and that he wasn't present. Thank you. Second community outreach is if anybody has any public comments, now's the time to come to the podium, state your name.
I'm still the same person. I just want to say that you have talked about ecotourism on the publicity that you put out at Flagler County. And I'm saying I don't see that there's been support. You say that, ecotourism, but I don't see anything that's the county is doing or directly that includes that. And so it just seems to me there's a gap there. You say ecotourism and
It says trails, tides, and laid back vibes. There's Palm Coast and the Flagler beaches.
Palm Coast and the Flagler.
But that's what
it
it
doesn't
promotes.
say. This is what I'm saying. It's everything. There's just no identity for that. And I understand what you're saying, but if you have a special place somewhere, you do mention that. It's not, it is something special. You have a barrier island that has all these wonderful things that the county has done to put there that make it a wonderful place. You can dirt bike ride. There's just so many things you can do, and it doesn't ever mention that. It doesn't ever mention ecotourism. That's what I'm saying. It's not being done, and it's very hard because when you want something from the hammock, oh, you're so special. You get to look at the ocean. By the way, we're going to tax you for that, and this is how we're going to raise the money we don't have. And there's nothing that says, okay, if we think this is such a special place and so wonderful and we're taxing you extra, then at least give the opposite side of that to say we do have this wonderful place. I mean, it disconnects. It just doesn't go together. And I can't do it by myself, but what I'm saying is you have this opportunity to draw new tourism. Families with children who want their children to learn about marine life, about all the different things. You have dolphins, you have manatees, you have all these things that kids can see. You have 2 places to do programs for children in the summer that you want your kids to do this, it's available to you. And the fact that it's all free says to me that one of the things that will be is if I come with my family, I'm camping, I'm getting all this stuff, no charge. I'm going to go out and buy things. I'm going to go out and eat because I'm going to say, boy, look, we saved a lot of money. We could do this. I think it would be a boost to the economy. And I think that it's just something that's getting lost, where you really have some app to say, okay, this is specifically aimed at families. Bring your family, let your kid, and I think there's enough people in the country, get this out, who say, I would love to do that. I think once, if this ever got started, there'd be a time you wouldn't even have to advertise it, because people would go home and say, you won't believe what we did with the family this summer. And I just think no one is seeing the potential in it, and I think it is could be a real potential to Flagler County, to say we do have a spot for ecotourism that your kids and you will love. That's the audience I think it needs to go to. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go with board member comments. Welcome back, Miss Felicia Cook from Marine Land. Thank you. Do you want to give us an update?
Sure. So Marine Land is back to local. There's no corporate office anymore. So I don't have to get permission to do things like this now. It's like any other business out there. This is the wrong season, so we're struggling, but we are moving forward with our plans. We met with UNF, and we'll partner with them for some of our research and resilience. And we have a researcher coming from Texas that will be working with us on research, conservation, and education. And we're just trying to return the place to what it needs to be.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Lucia,
I did want to thank the TDC and all the people they gathered to come and welcome us. You saw the picture up there, but thank you all. That was very nice. Very nice.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Oceanside is on your side still. We are going through a nice little remodel. My brother every year likes to find a portion of the restaurant that needs to be better, as I focus on the efficiency. And we are doing a nice little upgrade to our dining room. Trying to just less of a diner like, where it's all tables are close together. Got some new furniture coming in a few months. For the most part, business has been great since Valentine's Day, and since they smushed Valentine's Day and race weekend, it definitely it helped a lot. But we don't like breaking records anymore. We just like sustaining, and Daytona Beach is really throwing curveballs by moving all these different events up, which we do like to see these events moved closer to the non-performing months or the non-stellar months. But I would say that it hasn't really helped too much. Our numbers are lower during Bike Week last year when they moved it up. It's just different. I know our business bureau is working together to work a little bit closer with Daytona and give them some real feedback. Our next FB3 meeting is upcoming on Monday, March 2nd. We had to move it to a Monday because Tuesday is a big election day for our local commissioners. And is that the county commission race too? Is it March? Is that Tuesday? No.
Flagler Beach.
Just Flagler Beach only. Well, that makes it even better. So, Ms. Pontieri, if you're available, come on by. I'd like to introduce all of the people that are running to talk to the business owners and tell them what we think is going on. But for the most part, things are looking up. Other than our regional sports complex, I've been heavily involved in sports and education. This is my passion project that I keep pushing, and I've been talking to our county commissioners to try to get them to see a different perspective and how we can find the proper find the money to push this regional sports complex forward. I still think there's such a great opportunity there, and I hope we don't drop the ball with our fourth study coming through showing that it's supported. But that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cooley.
City Flagler Beach. So the piers staying on schedule. Things are coming along. Here's an interesting potential talking point from a tourism point of view. There, with the new construction of the work trestle, it's generated a lot of confusion with tourists and even members of the public alike that the thing that's being built is the new pier. And the thing that's being built is pretty ugly, and it has these rusty pilings that are going in the ground, and that is all for a reason. That's because that is a temporary and removable work trestle. And the new pier has not even been started yet. They're still working on dismantling the old pier. But, you know, potential talking point from a tourism aspect of, you know, a little education on, you know, what is that thing and why is it so ugly? Might be a neat little talking point, because the new pier will not have gigantic rusty legs being installed day one. They're going to be reinforced concrete. They already had a couple of them on site. They look really good. They're sharp, but there's been a lot of talk about that. It was a tough winter for the city of Flagler Beach, especially the downtown core. Appreciate tourism, y'all helping with that. Any help is appreciated. A lot of businesses saw a significant impact, both with the downturn in just the macro environment and also in the downtown core in general. Loss of a little bit of the parking and then getting messaging out about where the parking is and availability, it contributed to that. So we're still working on that heading into peak season. We think that we'll see a decent bounce back from that, but the downtown area, there's still concern about, folks just avoiding the area because of the construction and the assumed really ugly new pier that really is not our official pier yet. But that's really the only updates that I have, and appreciate you all for the messaging. Thank you.
Sounds like a great name for a new menu item, the Rusty Pier.
I don't know if I'd order.
Drink.
Yeah, stiff drink. There you go.
And Ms. Montieri.
Yes, thank you. So, City of Palm Coast went to Tallahassee last week, and relevant to this board, we did speak with Representative Greco about the companion bills that he and Senator Leak have proposed regarding beach renourishment and making the county just making the criteria more broad so that we can qualify for more funding through the bills that they've proposed. Those are looking positive. They've passed everything unanimously so far with limited pushback. The Florida League of Cities had an official objection or opposition to the bill that's been withdrawn officially. So that's good news. I think there's one other group that's kind of advocating against it, but for the most part, it should be pretty smooth sailing. So that'll open us up for more beach funding. I had a meeting yesterday with the Sports Alliance, John, and just to get some feedback from various leagues, sports league, soccer, lacrosse, football, obviously, regarding the need for fields, but also whether or not, I think one of the things that I've been hearing from residents is that we kind of see these sports complexes popping up all over, and their concern is, will there be kind of enough business to go around, so to speak? And what I'm getting from the Sports Alliance is that it's a resounding yes. There's plenty to go around. There are plenty of tournaments. And aside from the local need, they're very confident that should we move forward with a sports complex, that despite some of the other locations around us also having them, we will still be able to generate a lot of monies, a lot of revenues, bring in a lot of tournaments. So that's positive news. And we're weekly, I'm doing something in that regard to try to help. The Lights at Indian Trails Sports Complex is a small thing because what people don't realize is our fields get overworked. And when we say we can't put people on fields that are empty, it deters people from coming back and looking to Palm Coast again to bring their leagues and their tournaments and things like that. So we're working very hard at the city, and we're also, as a part of our SAP, our strategic action plan, we're implementing our sports or our Parks and Rec parks plan that we did jointly with the county, but we're also re-looking at that, revamping it a little, not revamping it, but kind of maybe reprioritizing based on some recent needs that have come up. So the board has agreed to kind of be a little malleable based on some of the needs that we think have kind of risen to the top that maybe initially weren't as present, 3 years ago when that was initially done, Commissioner Dance?
I think so.
Yeah. So we're hyper focused on it. We recognize the need and we recognize the benefit that continuing to really push in the sports tourism direction. We recognize that benefit for the full county.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson.
Oh, you skipping her?
I was just gonna
Oh, okay.
come back this way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm quick. Good morning. Lisa Robinson from the Hampton Inn Suites in Palm Coast. Hope everybody's having a good 2026 so far. Just a little quick update. I'm normally up here complaining about how we're down. We were only down. Last year we ended up being only down $600,000, which was pretty amazing. It was a miracle. So I just want to thank everybody in the county, in the city that did everything they could, even though we had a horrible September, October. Bike week was down all the way, Johnny. It was period all the way. So it was just down, and that was just it. So coming out only losing 600K with June to December just being on a downturn because of the economy or whatever the problem was, wasn't that bad. We're looking at 2026. We did great in January. We only slightly lost like $3,000 because of the snowstorm year over year. We literally could tie it to the snowstorm. Like one team had to cancel because it snowed and they couldn't get out. So we were great with that. That was good. February definitely has been holding. I can say for next year that the 500 is going to be February the 21st. Valentine's Day will be the week before. So it's like something about the Super Bowl. I don't know how that's gonna work. I think what helps us better is when they don't merge the things. So it's probably be a little bit better for us if the Rolex is not merged with the children. We can't house all the kids here, and I said this before. We can't house them on the same week because all the big companies put all the people in overflow for the Rolex race, which is a big deal. It does very well. It tides over, and up here we get the overflow. But we can't take all the kids on the field because we don't have spaces for them because the Rolex is taking everything from Daytona here. So I mentioned that before with them changing the date. I hope they listen, and that will help us out, not have it all merged. We'll see the difference. And maybe February of next year a little bit too by the Valentine's Day being 1 week and the race being the next week, so it should help us a little bit. March looks like it's coming back for Bike Week. Also, a lot of the colleges got their funding, so the college those games and everything are coming for April. So I'm actually optimistic because a lot of things are on the upturn, and a lot of stuff that we didn't have last year and we had in 24 and 23 have come back to Flagler County. People when they come here, they don't forget that they were here, and they do like all the eco things. I absolutely will be using this when I get back because my people ride bikes. I have a bike group that comes with regular bikes, not just motorcycles, and we depend on this. I begged Amy enough for this. Where's the new one? Where's the new one? Because we need it. So the county does good for promoting itself in all areas. People know all the cities here, and they come back because, like I said before, they want to move here. Commissioner Dash, you think that's funny, but they do. They move here, and it's a safe bet for when they bring their kids. When I have all my church groups, they do not stay in Daytona. They stay here because they feel safe. And there is a lot of things for the kids to do outside and for free. They understand that. They do know that. They do a great job of marketing the entire county. And so I appreciate it. And I appreciate what you guys did for me in December. And I have numbers for it. They hooked me up. They helped me. And people, they look at that site, Amy and them have, because I booked the rooms from it. So I know for a fact they do. So good job, everybody. And I just look forward to us having a lot of fun this year. And we'll come back. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments. Ms. Walker, I
My
didn't
turn.
skip you. I was just coming around.
Okay.
I have to keep it,
My turn.
off balance.
International tourism is my proficiency, as you all know. And I just want to give you a heads up that we may be down, but overall tourism was down during the holiday season and January. There seems to be a new high season, which seems to be February and probably October, November, because people are less likely to travel because of over tourism. There's a huge trend now to look for the off the beaten track places. And so they're looking for places like Flagler County to come to enjoy the not so crowded places in the world. So I look at this as an opportunity for us to promote the off the beaten track areas because that's what people are looking for internationally. But I will tell you that February has been over the top with people traveling. internationally. And I think a lot of why we are down locally is the planes are full, everything's full. It's really hard. And prices in Europe and hotels are starting, even in off season, at $1,000 a night. So I see a lot of opportunity for us to promote our little niche of the market here.
Thank you. I'll just add a couple things. For those that didn't come to the last public meeting for the Below Creek, the Below Headwaters Regional Park that the county is planning, the Bridge to Nowhere over 100 has big plans for the southern end of that bridge, including a trailhead that's being paid for by DOT. We've got the Eco Discovery Center, plus the expansion plans of that whole regional park, which will be a public passive park that provides access to Below Creek. So for viewing, birding, kayaking, those types of things, it's going to be, I think, in acreage, it's second to Princess Place in acreage, but will be for this eastern part, east of 95, will be a huge draw for tourism and for the public, for the residents. So excited for that. It's going to take a few years and probably constructed in phases as we move through. But we luckily had DOT funding to move with the design and construction documents. But over the next few years, it'll be slowly taking shape, with access on Old Kings Road south of 100, or through the trailhead right at the base of the bridge. So, and Ms. Rosewater, I think if you come to more meetings, you'll find that that the tourism department and the ability to market ecotourism is a huge draw for the county. It's one of the main targets that we use to diversify beyond the beach, right? We're looking for those secondary markets outside of the beach in order to bring people in, and our ecotourism. The tourism department does a great job in promoting that. So I think as you come to more meetings, you'll see this is just one, as a business meeting, this is one snippet of what we're doing in this time period, the business items that we have. But go online and you'll see, I think if you do some searches, you'll see some pretty unique places where the TDC is advertising on ecotourism. If there's anything else, Ms. Lukasik, anything you wanted to add to the? Okay. All right. Well, I apologize for the length of the meeting. It was a long one. We tried to keep them as short as possible. I know everybody's short of time, but thank you for being here, and have a great, safe day. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Appreciate it.